Once you're comfortable with what the current spot price is, you'll be in a position to check out websites, online auctions, local dealers, and other providers of silver. Depending on your physical location, there'll be certain silver pieces which will naturally be more attractive. If you're in the US, then the US silver dollar with the eagle will probably be the easiest thing for you to get started with. If you're in Canada, then the maple leaf, in the UK the Britannia, Australia the kangaroo, Austria the Philharmonic, and so on. The reason for having these preferences is not that any of these coins are more valuable than the other, but that you're more likely to find a local source that means you don't have to pay import taxes just to take delivery of the silver. It's much easier to go down to your local supplier and take the coins home than to have them flown across the world and wait weeks and pay import duties when they arrive. Many people do buy and sell on eBay. I even do this myself. But because there are also dealers and suppliers who don't use eBay due to their charges, I've taken the initiative of setting up an auction site for silver sellers, and I've made the fees much smaller. And this is where I'll be selling and buying much of my silver in future as people start to use it. And the auction site is located here at sellingyoursilver.com. Some other popular companies you can find online are ATS Bullion, which you can find here at atsbullion.com, Baird & Company, which you can find here at goldline.co.uk, and the Perth Mint, which you can find here at perthmint.com.au, and I've listed lots more on the website for this video. We've talked a lot about silver. We've mentioned how it's becoming scarcer on the planet. We've talked about how it's becoming more and more valuable to investors like you and me. I've talked to you about how we need silver in almost every branch of our industry, how we need silver to communicate and even to use the internet. Hopefully, after watching these videos, you're not only excited about investing in silver, which was my main purpose, but you're also ready to be prepared to start off. My goal was not to cover every single piece of information here, but to help you realize the potential that silver investment has, as well as teach you how to find the information that you need to succeed. If you educate yourself so that you can make the right decisions at the right time, then there's nothing that can stop you from becoming very wealthy. Investing in precious metals, and in silver in particular, is one of the greatest business models I've come across in my life. This is about the only business model in which after you start you don't have to do anything to be successful with it. After all you're doing is buying silver, letting it lay around somewhere and then selling it on when the time's right. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope that we'll stay in touch. You should always feel welcome to contact me and let me know how everything's going. I'll try to be as helpful as I can, and I'll always reply to your emails and letters. One thing I want to share with you before we part is that if you want to be successful with this business, you have to stay focused. Based on the fact that the price of silver will stay high and will be even higher year after year, we can safely say that silver is the cure for inflation. The dollar is plummeting, whereas precious metals such as gold and silver will go up and always will be more valuable. What is more, the price of the metal will increase so much that the monetary value of them will always overpower inflation. One of the most important things for people to realize is that even though real estate is really popular right now, there's something that's very peculiar about it that can cause it to decrease significantly in a short period of time. Much of the economic crisis was triggered by people being sold properties that they couldn't actually afford to pay for. The housing prices went up and people were tricked into thinking they could still afford them, and were sold policies that didn't kick into the true costs for 2 to 5 years. Now this was enough time for many of the lenders to pass those toxic debts on to other unsuspecting institutes, but the bubble was always going to burst. As we become more and more buried in the financial and economic crisis, we can see more and more people don't have money to pay their rent or to make mortgage payments. They'll have to leave those buildings and those apartments and find something cheaper that they will actually be able to afford. A high percentage of Americans with jobs also qualify for government aid. People don't have a lot of money right now. Now you probably know what usually happens to a building that's been left empty. it becomes very hard to sell. That's why real estate, though it's a decent investment, doesn't always give people the security that precious metals like gold and silver do. No matter what the economy is like, there is always going to be a demand for silver. Life without gold will be pretty much okay. We don't use gold in our everyday life in ways that we couldn't get by without, but silver is a completely different story. Without silver, we wouldn't have the technology that we have now. We would not have our cell phones, our computers, and other things that we use every day. We wouldn't be able to use the internet to communicate with one another, or even to make a cake for that matter. Almost all of the pieces of equipment that we use each day would become extinct because for them to function, they have to have silver in them. Again, silver will always be in demand. If people don't have money to buy an expensive house, then they won't buy one. If the economy stays as it is, they will not have the money for expensive real estate. They simply won't be able to afford it. We can all buy silver very cheaply, keep it around for a few years, and then sell it when it's higher in demand. Remember that the Wall Street Journal expects silver to be extinct by 2020. Now, the numbers might not be accurate. I mean, it might be 2025 or 2040, but it doesn't matter. The fact is that we're running out and we don't know what to do to get more. Look at it this way. If the United States of America were able to get more silver, don't you think they'd do it? It's not a pressing issue for them yet, but it will be. You just wait for it.